you are blocking your own blessings. Now, I know you like to think that some external force is stopping you from getting the things that you desire out of life. I know you believe that there's a demon, there's a devil, there's a Beelzebub, there are people, the toxicity of others. You believe that somebody out there is the reason why your blessings in life have not come to you, that your manifestations of your highest good is not pouring into your life. As a matter of fact, I wanted to believe that for most of my life. I held on to that belief because it was more comfortable. It was more of a greater excuse that I could hold on to instead of facing the truth that I was the only one who was stopping me from my own blessings. I was the only one stopping me from living that life of fulfillment, living that grand life, living that life of expansion. It was me and only me who was blocking me from my own blessings. And I realized that every time I was speaking in opposition to the things that I desired, I was pushing them away. Every time that I was entertaining thoughts of doubt, thoughts of worry, thoughts of concern, I was keeping and pushing my greatest good away from me. Every single moment that I spent indulging a thought that was not productive, I was creating a blockade for my own blessings. When I was in conversations with individuals and I thought all I was doing was just venting my problems, I was using the universal laws of vibration and attraction against myself. As it says, as a person thinketh in their heart, so are they. As a person thinketh in their mind, so are they. Therefore, the thoughts that I was continuously entertaining and perpetuating, those were what was creating my life. I had desires, I had wants, I had things that I wanted in my experience. But I didn't realize that I was still seeing a lack of those things. I still wasn't living in alignment with those things, right? Thinking about a relationship that I now have and experience the beauty of it, my true soulmate. But before that, I was always looking at the opposite. I was always speaking on how there weren't any people who matched and fit this description. Yet I was the one who wasn't living up to that description. I was creating standards that I wasn't even aligning myself with internally or externally. I was thinking to myself, man, I would love to have, this body built out, healthy, physique built, this, that, and the third. But man, genetics, right? I just got different genetics. My genetics ain't going to work for me. I was speaking in opposition to the good that I desired. I was saying things in conversation that were going against the abundance that I thought I was manifesting when I wasn't in conversation. So I would spend 15 minutes in meditation and feel this abundant feeling. Then all of a sudden I would go out in life and I would spend the next 23 hours and 45 minutes doing the exact opposite, thinking the exact opposite thoughts, worrying about finances, seeing lack, focusing upon lack, studying scarcity, right? So you find yourself in a place, in a space where you have desires in your life. You have things that you want to experience, greater, vast things that you know in your heart's a heart, like you can have these things. You know it for sure. If you're not the person who knows, then it's going to be difficult to even have this conversation right now. But if you're the individual, and I believe you are, who knows, like this, what I want right now, this desire, I know I can have this. I've seen, I've felt, I've experienced just enough to know. It's like David before he became king, when he got anointed by the prophet Samuel, he knew at some level, like, man, I'm going to be king. Man, I'm going to be, but he was not ready to step into kingship when he was still in the mindset of a shepherd. Let me run that back. David could not step into kingship so long as he was entertaining or engaging the mindset of a shepherd. You, my friend, will not step into the fullness of who you are. Step into the fullness of who you can truly be and become until you truly make a decision to eradicate all fear and worry and anxieties of the thing that you believe is not there. Right? Let me make that make sense. If you are believing for $1 million, you must eradicate all thoughts of scarcity, all thoughts of how it might not come. You must eradicate yourself from any belief besides that $1,000,000 is on its way right now, and I am in preparation for it. I am living as that is already here. And I'm not saying to pretend by going and buying a fur coat. I'm not saying pretending, cutting out pictures and creating a vision board, because you've done that 150,000 times. And if that's work for you, fantastic. But for most of us, what we all need to do, what is always guaranteed, is to transform the way in which we think, the way in which we speak, the way in which we move about life. We must be so fixated upon abundance, not just money, but abundance in life. We must be so fixated on gratitude. We must be so fixated on seeing what is there instead of fixating and focusing on what we perceive as not being there. The more attention and energy you give to what is not happening in your experience, what is not happening in your life, I promise you, you are holding yourself apart from it. This is universal law. I didn't make this up. This ain't something I just drew up and gave to you just to hold you in hopes. I don't believe in holding anybody in hopes. I believe in stepping in knowing faith, in knowing belief. I said knowing, which means there's an understanding behind it. There's a universal principle behind it. As real as gravity, it says that if I throw something up, it must come down. I throw something up again, it must come down again. That is how certain and how sure the universal principle is. The source, the infinite intelligence, God, has created this universe in such a way that things are guaranteed. You plant seed, you get tree. You plant specific tree or seed, you get specific tree. I plant apple seed, I get apple tree. I'm not going to plant an apple seed and get oranges. Therefore, I cannot plant scarcity and get abundance. So, you find yourself in a place, in a space where you are blocking your very own blessings. Now what do? Well, it's simple. You must first commit yourself. You must first make the decision, not a choice. A choice is whimsy and flimsical, right? You can change a choice every now and then, but a decision is something in which you burn the boats behind you. You put your flag into the ground and say, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. You must plant that flag into the ground so deeply and say, I stand upon the truth that this is what is going to be. My blessing is established. It is coming to me. And I promise you it already is. The request has already been sent out. It's already been put out. It's kind of like an Amazon, right? Or a Amazon package. You've already put in your order. It's already on its way. But you are the one who's locked the door. And in most cases, most of us, all we have to do is actually unlock the door and bring the package into the house. It's right outside of our door. But in order for us to do that, we must first make a decision that this is all there is for us, period. We're not going to entertain anything else. The reason why that matters is because it's the foundation of the next 3 steps. Number 1 is the thoughts you entertain. When you see thoughts that do not align with it, you must transcend and transform them into the desire. Yes, you may not believe them at first, but the more you do it, just like any other habit, any other thought pattern, any belief that you build, it will become your dominant belief. You must then speak on it, which means in conversation with yourself and others. You must be willing to be the weird individual who speaks of, oh yeah, my good is coming. When everybody else is talking about the economy being bad, you're not engaging in it. You're not entertaining it. You're saying, you know what? I believe that opportunity exists in every single economy. And people will look down on you and look bad at you and think you crazy and think you this and that. And you are going to stand your ground, period. Speak life into your own experience. Nobody else can force their own opinions on you unless you consent to it. Therefore, in conversation, hold on to that. And the third and last one is act in accordance. You must walk the walk. They say that faith without works is dead. As a matter of fact, there can be no faith without any works. It's just mumbo jumbo. It's all talk. It is all vain utterings. Therefore, you must walk in perfect accordance with those things. Is it always going to be easy? Absolutely not. Is it always going to feel right? Well, at its core, it will. Your spirit recognizes it right, but your ego, your confused self, your programmed and conditioned self may not necessarily feel that something is a right move. But you must always look to tap into spirit, because spirit never lies. It is tapped into the universal principle. It knows where all things are. It knows where you are in proximity to every single thing there is for you and everybody and everything else. Just look at nature and how it orchestrates itself. As a matter of fact, take one day just to watch National Geographics. And when you hear the explanations of how nature works, you'll see that the world, the universe in which we live in, is perfectly orchestrated, it's perfectly created for every single one of us to thrive. Period.